Have you ever had that nagging feeling that something just isn't right with a friendship? You know the one I'm talking about? Where everything seems fine on the surface, but deep down, something feels off. Maybe they're always there for the fun times, but mysteriously disappear when you need support. Or perhaps they seem genuinely interested in your life, but you later discover they've been sharing your personal business with others. If you've been questioning whether someone in your life is truly the friend they claim to be, you're not alone. Fake friendships are more common than we'd like to admit, and sometimes the signs can be subtle and confusing. Today we're going to explore 7 clear indicators that someone might be a fake friend, so you can protect your energy and invest in relationships that truly matter. Sign number 1. They only reach out when they need something. Let's start with one of the most obvious, yet often overlooked signs of a fake friend. They treat you like a personal ATM or favor bank. Think about your recent interactions with this person. When was the last time they called or texted you just to check in? Now compare that to how often they reach out when they need something. Money, a ride, help with a project, or even just someone to vent to about their problems. A genuine friend maintains contact because they value your presence in their life, not because they need something from you. They'll send you funny memes, ask about your day, or suggest hanging out without any ulterior motive. Fake friends, on the other hand, operate on what I call the convenience principle. They remember you exist when you can be useful to them. They might start conversations with phrases like, "Hey, I hate to ask, but," or "I know we haven't talked in a while, but I really need." Sound familiar? Here's a simple test. Think about the last 5 times this person contacted you. How many of those interactions involved them asking for something versus just wanting to connect? If the majority were requests, you might be dealing with a fake friend. Remember, healthy friendships involve mutual give and take. Everyone needs help sometimes, and that's completely normal. But when the relationship becomes consistently one-sided, with you always being the giver and them always being the taker, it's time to reassess. Sign number 2, they're competitive instead of supportive. Real friends celebrate your wins and support you through your losses. Fake friends, however, see your success as a threat to their own self-worth. This competitive behavior often shows up in subtle ways. When you share good news, like getting a promotion, buying a new car, or even just having a great day, notice their reaction. A fake friend might respond with backhanded compliments like, "Oh, that's nice, I guess some people just get lucky." Or they'll immediately try to one-up you with their own achievements. They might also downplay your accomplishments. If you tell them about acing an exam, they might say something like, "Well, that class is pretty easy," or "I heard the professor gives everyone good grades." These comments are designed to minimize your joy and make you feel like your success isn't as meaningful as you thought. Another red flag is when they seem genuinely uncomfortable or even upset when good things happen to you. You might notice they change the subject quickly, become distant, or suddenly seem less interested in spending time with you when things are going well in your life. In contrast, when they achieve something, they expect you to be their biggest cheerleader. They want your full attention, praise, and validation, but they can't seem to return the favor when the roles are reversed. True friends understand that there's enough success and happiness to go around. They know that your achievements don't diminish their own worth, and they genuinely want to see you thrive. If someone in your life consistently makes you feel like you need to dim your light to make them comfortable, they're not a real friend. Sign number 3. They gossip about others to you, and probably about you to others. Here's a harsh truth. If someone is comfortable talking badly about their other friends to you, they're probably doing the same thing about you when you're not around. Fake friends often use gossip as a bonding tool. They'll share intimate details about mutual friends, spreading rumors or criticizing people behind their backs. At first, this might make you feel special, like you're part of an inner circle or that they trust you with sensitive information. But pay attention to how this makes you feel long-term. Does it create genuine intimacy, or does it leave you feeling uneasy? Real friendship is built on mutual respect and trust, not on tearing others down. When someone consistently gossips to you, it reveals several concerning things about their character. First, it shows they have trouble maintaining appropriate boundaries. Second, it demonstrates a lack of loyalty. If they can't keep their other friends' secrets, why would they keep yours? Most importantly, chronic gossipers often struggle with their own insecurities. By focusing on other people's flaws and mistakes, they deflect attention from their own issues and create a false sense of superiority. If you want to test this theory, try changing the subject next time they start gossiping, or gently defend the person they're talking about. A fake friend might become defensive or even turn their criticism toward you. A real friend will usually respect your boundaries and might even reflect on their behavior. Remember, healthy friendships involve building each other up, not tearing others down. If your conversations consistently center around criticizing people who aren't present, you're probably not dealing with genuine friendship. Sign number 4. They dismiss your problems or make everything about themselves. One of the most important functions of friendship is emotional support. Real friends create a safe space where you can share your struggles, fears, and disappointments without judgment. Fake friends, however, either dismiss your problems or use them as an opportunity to redirect attention to themselves. When you try to open up about something that's bothering you, pay attention to their response. Do they listen with genuine concern and offer comfort or practical advice? Or do they minimize your feelings with phrases like, "That's not really a big deal," or "You're being too sensitive"? Some fake friends take an even more self-centered approach. They might listen for about 30 seconds before jumping in with, "Oh, that reminds me of when I..." and then spend the next 20 minutes talking about their own similar experience. They treat your problems as a launching pad for their own stories rather than giving you the support you need. Another variation is the fake friend who always seems to be in crisis. No matter what you're going through, their situation is always worse, more complicated, or more urgent. They have a way of making every conversation about their drama, leaving you feeling unheard and unimportant. Real friends understand that sometimes the best thing they can do is simply listen. They validate your feelings, offer genuine empathy, and help you work through your challenges. They don't compete with your problems or make you feel like your struggles aren't worth their time. If you consistently leave conversations with this person feeling emotionally drained or like your concerns weren't acknowledged, you might be dealing with a fake friend who sees the relationship as being primarily about meeting their needs, not yours. Sign number 5. Their inconsistent and unreliable reliability is one of the cornerstones of genuine friendship. Real friends show up when they say they will, keep their promises, and maintain consistent behavior over time. Fake friends, on the other hand, are like emotional weather, constantly changing and impossible to predict. This inconsistency shows up in many ways. They might be your best friend one day, calling you constantly and wanting to spend time together, then completely ignore you for weeks without explanation. They make plans with you but cancel at the last minute, often with flimsy excuses or no explanation at all. Their mood toward you might depend on external factors that have nothing to do with your friendship. Maybe they're warm and friendly when they're single but distant when they're in a relationship. Or perhaps they're only interested in your friendship when their other social options fall through. This unpredictable behavior is emotionally exhausting and can leave you constantly questioning where you stand with them. You might find yourself walking on eggshells, never sure which version of them you're going to encounter. Fake friends also tend to be fair-weather friends. They're around for the good times, parties, celebrations, and fun activities, but mysteriously absent during challenging periods in your life. When you're going through a difficult time and could really use their support, they suddenly become too busy or unavailable. In contrast, real friends maintain a steady presence in your life. They're consistent in their affection, reliable in their promises, and you never have to wonder whether they actually care about you. You can count on them to be there, regardless of what else is happening in their lives. Sign number 6. They make you feel bad about yourself. This might be the most damaging sign of a fake friend, and unfortunately, it's often the subtlest. Real friends should make you feel accepted, valued, and appreciated for who you are. Fake friends, consciously or unconsciously, chip away at your self-esteem. This emotional damage often happens gradually, making it hard to recognize. They might make jokes at your expense, always positioning you as the butt of the humor. While they frame these comments as just kidding or harmless fun, they consistently target your insecurities or perceived weaknesses. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with this person. Do you leave feeling energized and happy, or do you feel drained and somehow smaller? Do you find yourself questioning your choices, your appearance, or your worth after your interactions? Fake friends often use subtle put-downs disguised as concern or honesty. They might say things like, "I'm only telling you this because I care," but followed by something designed to make you feel insecure. They position themselves as brutally honest truth tellers, but their honesty seems to focus primarily on your flaws. They might also compare you unfavorably to others. Comments like, "Sarah would never wear something like that," or "Mike is so much better at this kind of thing," slowly erode your confidence and make you feel like you're constantly falling short. Another red flag is when they discourage you from pursuing your goals or dreams. They might express fake concern about you getting your hopes up, or suggest that you're not really the type of person who could achieve what you want. This isn't protective, it's sabotage. True friends might occasionally give you difficult feedback, but it comes from a place of genuine love and is delivered in a constructive way. They build you up and encourage you to be your best self, not tear you down or make you doubt your worth. Sign number 7. They don't respect your boundaries. The final sign of a fake friend is perhaps the most serious. They consistently ignore or push against the boundaries you set. Healthy relationships require mutual respect for each other's limits, comfort zones, and personal choices. Boundary violations can take many forms. Maybe you've told them you don't want to discuss certain topics, but they keep bringing them up anyway. Perhaps you've asked them not to share personal information about you with others, but they continue to gossip about your private business. They might pressure you into activities you're not comfortable with, whether that's going to certain places, participating in behaviors that conflict with your values, or spending money you don't have. When you say no, they don't accept it gracefully. Instead, they guilt trip you, call you names like boring or uptight, or keep pushing until you give in just to avoid conflict. Fake friends often have trouble understanding that no is a complete sentence. They feel entitled to explanations, justifications, or negotiations when you set a limit. They might respond to your boundaries with anger, manipulation, or attempts to make you feel guilty for having them in the first place. They also tend to be selective about when your boundaries matter to them. They might respect your limits when it's convenient for them, but completely ignore them when honoring your boundaries would interfere with something they want. Real friends understand that boundaries aren't personal attacks. They're necessary for healthy relationships. They respect your limits without argument, and they don't make you feel bad for having standards or preferences that differ from theirs. If someone consistently makes you feel guilty for having boundaries or pressures you to compromise your values to maintain their friendship, they're showing you that their desires matter more to them than your comfort and well-being. Now that we've identified these 7 signs, you might be wondering what to do if you recognize some or all of them in someone you considered a friend. The answer isn't always simple, and it depends on your specific situation. First, remember that people aren't perfect, and everyone has bad days or moments where they don't show up as their best selves. Look for patterns rather than isolated incidents. If someone consistently displays several of these behaviors over time, that's when you need to seriously evaluate the relationship. You have several options. Sometimes, honest communication can help. If you value the relationship and believe the person is capable of change, consider having a direct conversation about your concerns. They might not realize how their behavior affects you, and addressing it could lead to positive changes. However, if you've already tried to address these issues and nothing has changed, or if the person becomes defensive and refuses to acknowledge their behavior, it might be time to step back from the relationship. This doesn't necessarily mean a dramatic confrontation. Sometimes the best approach is to gradually invest less time and energy in the friendship while focusing on relationships that are more reciprocal and supportive. Remember, you deserve friendships that add value to your life, not drain it. Surround yourself with people who celebrate your successes, support you through challenges, respect your boundaries, and make you feel good about who you are. The end of a friendship can be painful, especially when you've invested time and emotional energy into it. But recognizing fake friendships is an important skill that protects your mental health and makes room for authentic connections that truly enrich your life. What about you? Have you experienced any of these signs in your own friendships? I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Sometimes sharing our stories helps others recognize similar patterns in their own lives. And if this video helped you gain some clarity about your relationships, consider subscribing for more content about building healthier connections and improving your overall well-being. Remember, you deserve friends who see your worth and treat you accordingly. Don't settle for anything less.